My boss said overtime was mandatory voluntary, so I made everything voluntary overtime. I've been working at the company for 3 years when my boss Chandler called an all-hands meeting on a Tuesday morning, standing there with his motivational speaker smile while explaining how we were all about to get screwed. Overtime is now mandatory voluntary, he said, like those words made any sense together. Real team players don't watch the clock. We're a family here, and families don't nickel and dime each other over a few extra hours. I raised my hand. But we'll get overtime pay for the mandatory voluntary overtime, right? Chandler's smile tightened. Champions don't play for the paycheck, they play for the love of the game. This is about dedication, not compensation. My coworker from accounting muttered, that's literally illegal, but Chandler was already walking out, probably to his BMW that he definitely didn't buy with love of the game. I looked around the conference room at my exhausted coworkers who were already working 50-hour weeks. Okay, then mandatory voluntary it is. Chandler practically glowed with corporate pride. See, that's the spirit I'm talking about. Most companies would have employees complaining and getting all union happy. That night I stayed until 8 p.m., then went home with a plan. If Chandler wanted voluntary overtime without pay, I'd give him exactly that, by logging every single work-related thought as overtime hours. He said we should track our dedication, right? Time to show him just how dedicated I was. Every anxiety-filled minute of it. Week 1, I started conservative. My timesheet included thinking about tomorrow's presentation during dinner, 2 hours. Work anxiety disrupting sleep, 6 hours. Stress eating due to workplace pressure, 45 minutes. When Chandler saw my 71-hour week, he laughed. Nice try, but voluntary overtime means actual work. Define actual work, I said, pulling up the employee handbook. Because according to this, work-related activities include any task that contributes to company productivity or employee readiness. His eye twitched. That's not what that means. What does it mean then? The handbook you wrote doesn't specify. His face malfunctioned with different emotions before settling on confused frustration. The real fun started week 2. I logged morning shower while mentally reviewing spreadsheets, 30 minutes daily. Work-related stress dreams, submitted with a detailed dream journal, including the one where Excel sheets chased me through a maze. Explaining job frustrations to therapist, 1 hour. My timesheet showed 89 hours. This is ridiculous, Chandler said, holding my timesheet like it was contaminated. Which part? The therapy I need because of workplace stress, or the nightmares about pivot tables? You're mocking the system. I'm using your exact words. Voluntary overtime to show dedication, remember? This isn't real overtime. How? By accurately documenting my work-related activities? By week 3, the entire team had caught on. One coworker logged Sunday scaries as an 8-hour shift every Sunday. Another claimed recovering from work-induced exhaustion for her entire weekend. Another submitted pre-work dread starting at 4 a.m. every weekday. Someone from accounting logged calculating how underpaid I am, 3 hours daily. Chandler exploded when I submitted a timesheet showing 397 hours for 1 week. Chandler slammed it on his desk. There are only 168 hours in a week. I'm counting each stress response separately. My mind, body, and soul are all working overtime independently. Plus, existing in a capitalist system that requires employment for survival. That's 24/7 baseline overtime. This is timesheet fraud. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Are you saying that my voluntary overtime isn't voluntary, or that it isn't overtime? Because you explicitly said it was both. Dead silence from Chandler. The next Monday, Jimena from HR called an emergency meeting. We've received timesheets totaling 15,000 hours of overtime from the department this month. She looked directly at Chandler. Legal says if we don't pay these hours, we're looking at a labor violation lawsuit. If we do pay them, it's $2.8 million. Chandler tried damage control. They're being ridiculous on purpose. By following your voluntary overtime policy, Jennifer held up Chandler's email. The one you put in writing? Tom raised his hand. I have a sleep app that shows my REM cycles. Cross-reference that with my dream journal, and you'll see I'm actually under-reporting. Jennifer's eye started twitching, matching Chandler's. That afternoon, Chandler sent out a new email. Effective immediately, all overtime must be pre-approved and will be compensated at time-and-a-half rates. It seemed like he couldn't handle paying my new salary after all.